Good, beautiful evening. Welcome to this episode of A Dog's Life. My name is John. This is our collective journey of walking together to be better versions of ourselves. This is my first real podcast this week. I gave a brief one on Monday morning. My physical body had not been feeling well. It had been under the weather. I don't know if I had ever realized in the past what separation there can be between our physical selves and our spiritual selves. And I wholeheartedly believe that at this point in my life, this is as in touch with my spiritual self that I have ever been. And over the last 4 days of my physical body not feeling well, wow, the disconnection between my spiritual self and physical self is just, they truly felt like two separate entities rather than the one that they are meant to be. I have felt like over the last week that I could do nothing other than just literally make it through the day. Coming out the other end of that, getting back to aligning myself is such a blessing, such a joy. I'm so grateful. Today, when I was spending time with myself as I was driving, listening to a podcast that I hoped would feed my soul, and it definitely did. It was talking about what we resist persist. Until I really internalized that, I did not realize how much I had been resisting in my own life, in the persistence that it was showing. I mean, it was just, hindsight is definitely 2020. I mean, here I am looking backwards at the events in my life over the past 3 months. And it's like, wow. It's like this one part of myself I did not want to acknowledge it. And I'm not sure if my lack of wanting to acknowledge it was I don't know. I think there's so many layers buried in why I didn't want to acknowledge, why I didn't want to just look at it. And acknowledging does not mean that I'm going to spend the rest of my existence in the same cycle, but until I was willing to look at myself holistically and understand that as I've been growing over the last 6 months, over the last 3 months, even more so, that I started to say I was so caught up in the new version of myself that I was so caught up in the new version of myself that I was just choosing to set the past aside. No, I don't think that's, I don't, in my soul, I do not believe that to be a correct statement. There's a part of myself that I've just not wanted to acknowledge, so I've chose to just let it sit aside and look at the new shiny version of myself. And that's not, we cannot grow until we will honestly look at everything that we are. And I cannot fully grow until I take that part of me and I look at it. I acknowledge it. I acknowledge the place that it's had, notice I say had, in my life. Because for whatever reason, some part of me felt all this time that I needed to be that person, that I was not worthy of more. And I have to acknowledge that version of myself was there to be the better version of myself. The podcast I was listening to today, I listened to it twice, just in a row, just because it resonated with me that much, how much I had been ignoring that facet of myself instead of picking it up and looking at it and acknowledging it. That doesn't mean I'm carrying it with me, but I had to acknowledge its existence. I had to fully embrace the person that I am, the person that I was, to become the person I'm going to be. And I wasn't doing very well with that. Nope, I was brushing it aside. I was like, well, you make me uncomfortable, so I don't want to look at you. I know this new version of myself, you're not going to be there anymore, so it's like, I'm going to set you over here. I'm just going to pretend that you never really existed. You were never really here. I'll just put you in this corner. And then here comes life in all of its humor in prodding me. It's like, oh, you don't want to acknowledge peace over here? Let me push this piece in front of you that's going to show you more of it. Still in denial? All right, I'm going to push another piece in front of you. No, you still want to deny it's sitting over there? You still don't want to pick it up, look at it, acknowledge it, so you can move past it? No. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep putting another piece here, and another, and another, and another, until finally the landslide's right there and you're like, okay, you win. I am going to pick up this piece of myself that I laid over here that I didn't want to look at. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to thank it for teaching me to be a better version of me. I'm going to thank it for helping me to understand the person that I am destined to be and how it shaped and helped me be the best version of myself. I'm going to thank it for the struggle and the strife. And then I'm just going to wash my hands of it because it's acknowledged. I'm done with it. I am so, so thankful for each and every one of you that are choosing to be a better version of yourself, to just manifest into the version of yourself that you're supposed to be. I love each and every one of you. I love hearing from you. I'm so excited to be in a place of understanding, to understand what I have spent so long trying to set aside, and to be honest with myself and look at it. I love you all. Be safe, be blessed. Thank you.